Good morning, all. Today we are speaking about archetypes as well as entities, and then egregoires, thought systems again. So from the Christian perspective, people have been aware of what is called entities / demons, and we had satanic panic in the apartheid years where people really freaked out about this. And then when we went into the more empirical worldview, all of this was, the baby was thrown out with the bathwater. So obviously when a word exists and when it lives within the consciousness of society for so long, then there is something behind it, right? Whether that be a metaphor or an energetic ping. So if we look at the concept of egregoires, right? Let's start at the beginning again. As I've said in previous videos, an egregoire is a thought system. So the overarching thought system of any society or anything. So please go look at the book Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zeeland. Freaking amazing book. There's an audiobook on YouTube. It's 25 hours long. It's amazing. So anyway, a thought system feeds on the compliance, right, of the people that are adhering to that thought system, and it then grows. And whether you are fighting that thought system vehemently, or whether you are complying with it and putting all your energy in it, both would feed the thought system, right? Because it still means that you are on script, on that script. But the moment you go off script, you don't feed that thought system anymore. And when we look at the evolution of consciousness, and as I've said in previous videos, we're in a mind before matter universe. Consciousness evolved with matter, right? It didn't just evolve out of dead matter at some point, So we remember we spoke about the hard question in science. So when consciousness evolved, we had what is called archetypes. So Jung talks about archetypes within the collective, subconscious, unconscious. I always get confused with those two, right? The collective, subconscious, yes. And these are pictures. So a picture paints 1,000 words. As Plato also spoke about, it was like a cookie cutter thing, if you've got a horse here on earth, there is the perfect horse, like the cookie cutter that makes horses. So if you look at archetypes, those are mythological symbols, and a picture paints 1,000 words. So in other words, universal mother, right? Universal mother can be seen in Mary. It can also be seen, or Mother Mary, it could also be seen in Kuan Yin, right? It can be seen in Sophia, which would be wisdom, rather. But all of these archetypes run our lives, whether we are aware of them or not. The archetype of trickster is a very, very strong one. And as we're evolving through this simulation, what we need to know is that everything exists, right? We're just choosing it. So every place we can go, every timeline we can jump, every thought we can have, every color we can perceive already exists, because in one moment God went, what am I? And we're outside of time, everything, ta-da! And now we are just navigating that, right? And it is time that allows me to be me and you to be you, but time is the movement of consciousness. So we're moving through this, and just as we jump to, alternate space or alternate timelines when we go off script, even our thoughts aren't new, right? We're just tapping into already existing thoughts and already existing archetypes, because time is an illusion, right? This is a replay. So archetypes would be less differentiated, bigger globs of thought, if you could put it that way. And they've come for centuries, right? And they've fed on the compliance of people, right? And they have refined, because it's an energy, right? So when we look at entities, when somebody is not in complete control of their lives and they're ignoring a part of their lives, they're not looking at a part of the shadow, they might start to use an archetype unconsciously in order to survive. So what would be an example of this? Let's say somebody went through a lot of heartache, right? Went through a lot of heartache and then realized you can't trust anyone, but also has a need for approval. And then this person starts sleeping around in order to gain that approval, because now we've got a dopamine high, we feel good about ourselves, we're not attached anymore. If that person does not look at that shadow, the energy, the Eros energy, you know, like Jung said, don't play with Eros. The Eros energy will build up and build up and build up and build up until the archetype of prostitute actually attaches to that person and has a space to live through that person, right? So many archetypes: victim, prostitute, I don't know. But this is the thing. When we are not aware of the archetypes that are playing through us, because we're not aware of our intentions, we're not aware of our motivations, and we're not aware of our shadows, then archetypes can possess us, right? So that's why Jung also spoke about anima possession or animus possession. That's where the word comes from. It takes you over and it animates your existence. Now we're playing with archetypes 24/7, right? We move through many archetypes daily, but we do this consciously. It could also be that we are very much suppressed, and therefore we will only see the archetypes externally. And this is why stories are so incredibly important, because if something is in the shadow, when we look at a story, an archetypal hero's journey, and we have our beautiful archetypes in there, the archetypes that seem most numinous to us, right, that shines, that inspires us, then reminds us of the aspects within ourselves that we have suppressed. So if we are being animated, right, by an archetype, and remember, this could be positive, this could be negative, but if it is a negative archetypal possession, what can we do? What can we do? So it's not being done to you, it's being done by you, right? To yourself, for you, because you are showing yourself to you. So what you can do is become aware of what this archetype is helping you not to face. So what pain do you not want to see? What truth can you not look at? What reality do you not want to face because you think you cannot change it? And once you do this, right, and you start working, the archetype will let go of you. Because this is the interesting thing. The archetype is your helper in a certain way. This is the same thing as your angel, something that saves you becoming your demon, right? So an archetype can come in. Oh, I've got a little knipper thingy being in my hair. Coming in and helping you, but later it becomes a problem. Also, most people are not even aware of the fact that they are possessed. Archetype possessed, but usually it'll be people who are either in victim consciousness or who believe that they are justified to be the perpetrator. And you can see this in their faces, right? Highly intuitive people can see this in people's faces. So just for a moment, somebody would look like a trickster, right? Or somebody would look like an orphan, or somebody would look like the universal mother. Remember, positive interaction with archetypes, really beautiful as well. But once we over-identify with an archetype, we become unbalanced because we're not looking at the balanced perspective of all the archetypes, right? Because it is individuation, and then it is integration of all the aspects of consciousness. Okay, so I hope that helped a little bit today. Oh, my ears are ringing. Yeah, my ears are ringing. Have a beautiful day, and remember that whatever happens to you is happening for you, right? All of this, and it's not being done to you, it's being done by you. Have a beautiful day.